When you're hungry or peckish, the kitchen is no doubt your favorite place to be. And you probably think you know your kitchen pretty well. In actuality, maybe not as well as you might think. You see, there are quite a few hidden secrets in your kitchen you're likely unaware of. First, we're going to take a look at something with holes in it. No, we're not talking about Swiss cheese, though now you mention it, all this kitchen talk is making me hungry. Instead, take a look at the knives in your kitchen. You may notice that some of them have holes or dimples across the blade. You won't just find these features on one type of blade either. There are quite a few knives in your kitchen that likely have these holes or dimples. These can include the paring knife, the bread knife, and of course everyone's favorite kitchen knife, the chef's knife. This feature isn't just decorative though. There are a few excellent reasons for these holes and dimples. One of the main reasons is to reduce cutting friction. Think about it. Not all foods are easily sliced. Say you're trying to make a delicious pumpkin curry. Of course, you've got your main ingredient. Maybe you want to add some carrot among other vegetables, all of which are pretty thick and hard to cut through. Pick yourself a knife with some holes in it. Those holes will help reduce the friction between that tough-to-slice food and your blade. These knives will also be lighter and therefore kinder on your wrist if you plan on cutting food for an extended time. The holes in your blade mean less steel, which means less weight, so you'll be making cleaner cuts in your food with ease. Another use for these holes is to hang your knives up, significantly larger ones that are harder to store in a drawer. Having it hung up at arm's length of the kitchen bench for a commonly used knife like a meat cleaver will also be convenient. Of course, when you're cutting your food, you want to be doing it so on a chopping board, which, you guessed it, has a kitchen secret of its own. You'll notice, in most chopping boards, there's also a hole at the top of the board. Sure, this can be handy for when you need to carry it around or hang it up in your kitchen, as you did with your cleaver. But there's an additional purpose behind this feature, which probably hasn't occurred to you before. Once you've sliced up your herbs and vegetables, all that delicious flavor you're going to be adding to your dish, hover the hole at the top of the chopping board over the pot, pan, or whatever it is you're cooking in. Take your knife and gently push your ingredients through the hole for a clean transfer from the board. Give it a try. A clean kitchen is a happy kitchen. I'm sorry, I was just cutting some onions. But did you know there is in fact a secret way to cut onions without the tears? First of all, it's important to know that your onion isn't a hooligan. That's not why you end up crying when you cut into it. The onion skin contains amino acids, and when you cut into it, the chemicals produced from the damage you incur are released into the air and end up stinging your eyes, kind of like payback. The best way to stifle the production of these tear-inducing chemicals is to cool the onion, either by freezing it or running it under cold water. Either way, you should now be able to cut through your onion with dry eyes and a smile. Keep the water running for this upcoming kitchen secret, and we need to fill the ice cube trays next. It seems almost impossible to refill your ice cube trays without making a complete mess of the water. But the design of your standard ice cube tray lets you fill it with ease and a dry kitchen bench. Rather than filling each well one by one, direct the water onto the flat area in between 4 ice cube wells. It'll channel the water evenly into each well without overfilling and splashing over the sides. If you're after a speedier method of filling your ice cube tray, tilt it onto an angle and run the water from the top 2 wells. The water will run down the tray like a waterfall and fill up each well with speed and relative cleanliness. Of course, it's still a challenging journey carrying your ice cube tray from the kitchen tap to the freezer. We haven't discovered a secret for that yet, other than, well, an automatic ice cube maker. Now, let's get out of the freezer and heat things up a bit. However, did you know that spicy food isn't actually hot? At least not in the traditional sense of the word. A chemical compound in hot peppers called capsaicin tricks your brain into experiencing that burning sensation in your mouth and throat. So, no need to worry, you are not really on fire, though it may feel like it. Your first instinct is to probably grab a tall glass of water and wash it down like you're dousing a house fire. But you do not want to do this. The water will only spread the capsaicin around more and make it worse. Instead, dairy is your secret best friend when you need relief from an overly spicy pepper. Most milk products contain a protein called casein, which can help wash away the capsaicin. So, as long as you have a glass of milk handy, go ahead and test yourself by seasoning your meal with some challenging spices. Speaking of seasoning, the most common seasoning ingredient to any meal is undoubtedly salt. But have you ever grabbed the half-full salt shaker, turned it upside down, and despite shaking it and tapping the bottom, barely any grains come out? Sooner or later, salt starts to clump together. It tends to happen because salt absorbs water vapor in the air, and eventually it can attract enough that the salt partially dissolves and sticks together. Well, the secret solution to this has been under your nose this whole time, and you probably never realized it. Have you ever noticed some grains of rice in the salt shaker on the table at your favorite restaurant? They're not there to add flavor. It's done because the rice absorbs water even faster than the salt, keeping the salt dry for longer. You can do this with the salt in your kitchen too. Just add some uncooked long-grain rice to your shaker, and you'll notice your salt coming out of it with ease from now on. But now, let's talk about something you might be flavoring with your now easy-to-use salt shaker, or rather, what tends to sprout from it. Potatoes are one of the most diverse foods on the planet. As Samwise Gamgee once put it, boil 'em, smash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. But if you don't get around to cooking your potatoes as fast as a hobbit surely would, you'll likely notice some shoots start to sprout. Soon enough, your potato looks like something out of a scary alien movie. It's not an unnatural process, however. Like most things, reproduction is part of a potato's cycle of existence, and sprouting is part of the process of creating a new potato. The speed at which your potato starts sprouting its shoots depends on its exposure to light, temperature, humidity levels, and how long it is left dormant for. So, if it's been sitting around for a while, it's likely going to have some sprouts. It's excellent if you plan to plant your potato. Of course, this is not so much the case if you plan to eat it. However, a secret to preventing potatoes from sprouting too early is to store them with your apples. The apple's ethylene gas prevents the sprouting process for longer. But don't store your potatoes with your onion. No, they won't make the potatoes cry, but they will have the opposite effect and cause them to sprout. So you see, sprouts on a potato aren't nearly as unsavory as mold on bread. When the bread is fresh, however, one of the most popular uses is to create toast. Almost every home has a toaster. Mine does. It might surprise you to know that there's likely a secret compartment inside your very own toaster. What's inside the compartment may not be too exciting, but it happens to be a critical feature that not many people know exists. It's the crumb tray, whereas the name suggests all the crumbs and debris from your toast end up here. To find this hidden feature, you need to look for it between your toaster's upper and lower body. Now, it's essential to keep this tray clean. Not only does it keep your kitchen cleaner, but it also reduces the risk of your toaster being a fire hazard. Well, that would be crummy. Those are some unveiled kitchen secrets we bet you never knew. Now you're ready to reacquaint yourself with your kitchen and make a meal with all these handy secrets in mind. Yep, now I'm hungry. You see these blades? They have notched corners to make your cutting experience smoother. Ooh! The front edge notch helps with separating blades during manufacturing, while the trailing edge notch helps the blade glide easily. And a fun fact, that notch on the front also helps you spot unused sections of the blade, just a little visual indicator to make your life easier. When it comes to silver versus black blades, they're both made from the same stuff. But black blades are sharper and are better suited for cutting through tough materials, while silver blades strike a balance between cutting power and durability. If you want that extra cutting oomph, go for black. Oh, almost forgot. The only thing those blades aren't meant to cut is food. It has a rust-proofing oil coating, which is not safe for humans. Check this one out. It's totally giving me childhood vibes. Now, I remember my grandma having tomato-shaped pincushions just like this. And sometimes they would look more like a salad, with a little pepper thrown in there. Well, believe it or not, this salad actually has a purpose. The tomato keeps your pins in place, while the pepper keeps them sharp. Those peppers are filled with sand, which helps keep your pins nice and sharp. And it's not just sand. Crushed walnuts can also be used to keep your pins in tip-top shape. Now look at this multiple pocket tool and this little hook on it. It's a bit of a mystery, but it's actually pretty handy. I counted at least 4 different applications. 1. You can use it to carry all sorts of awkward stuff, like camping gear or heavy parcels. 2. Need to twist some wire or play around with knots? The parcel hook has got you covered. 3. This hook can save the day with those stubborn zippers, like the ones on your luggage. 4. It's great for pretending to be a budget version of Captain Hook. If you know more applications, let me know in the comments. Apple users, with this feature, you'll never get laundry surprises again. Now, I bet you've had this situation at least once in your life. You wash your stuff, and when you take it out of the washing machine, the size seems to only fit your cat. Your iPhone camera can actually translate those funky laundry symbols for you. There are 2 requirements though. You must have iOS 17, and your phone must be in English. Take a photo of the care label, go to the Photos app, and see the details of the image. Everything will be automatically decoded and explained to you. Now, many toasters come with nifty removable crumb trays at the bottom. It's super important to give these trays a good clean every now and then to keep your toaster running smoothly and avoid any potential fire hazards. Just pop them out, shake out the crumbs, and you're good to go. Where you shake them out is up to you. Those little compartments on your gas pump aren't just for show. They're actually there to hold your cap while you're filling up. This nifty feature keeps things tidy and prevents any spills or drips on the handle. So, say goodbye to messy refueling experiences and hello to a cleaner pump. Plus, it makes the whole process way more convenient and efficient. Now, I'll bet your oven gets so greasy and dirty sometimes that you can even hear it oink. Just kidding. I know you're a tidy person. Anyway, if you're looking for a way to bring your kitchen cleaning to a whole new level, here's a tip for you. Most oven doors have handy latches that let you pop the door off for easy cleaning, saving your poor back from the strain. When you're draining noodles or potatoes, there's no need to bother transferring everything to a colander in the sink. Just throw the colander right into the pot, hold it down, and pour the liquid out. It makes life so much easier, especially when you want to save that starchy water for recipes. It's a must for authentic pasta, by the way. So let's say you've snagged this gem at a thrift store a while back for just under $1. It's seen better days, serving as an ashtray, but you decide it's time to give it a new lease on life. Here's the lowdown on how to make it shine again. Mix up a solution of boiling water, baking soda, and table salt in a bowl lined with aluminum foil. Let the piece soak for about 15 minutes and repeat this process 3 times. In between soaks, gently scrub any rough spots with a microfiber cloth. After the final soak, dry the piece off and rub on some toothpaste, baking soda, and peroxide. Buff out any remaining tarnish with a clean, dry microfiber cloth. Rinse it off, and now your piece is practically gleaming like a mirror. These aluminum foil boxes have nifty little tabs on the sides that make it super easy to grab a sheet without any hassle. It's like a fancy little bonus that makes the product a breeze and ensures you'll have a smooth sailing experience every time. Manual can openers often come with a handy built-in feature, also known as a bottle opener. It's like getting 2 tools in one. But did you know that this bottle opener actually has another useful function? It can help you loosen those stubborn, hard-to-open jars. Simply lift the lid slightly at a couple of points with the bottle opener, and then watch it as it effortlessly twists right off. Yeah! Okay, I just found that, apparently, you're supposed to save the first and last slices of a loaf of sliced bread for last. It's like a bread hack or something. Apparently, those end pieces help keep the rest of the bread fresher for longer, and you shouldn't eat them until you've devoured the rest of the loaf. So, next time you're making a sandwich, Save those heel slices for the very end. Even bread eating needs a good strategy. Now look at those blue levers on the top rack of your dishwasher. I was curious about them too, and it turns out they're actually water bottle sprayers. They help to ensure that your bottles get a thorough cleaning and rinse during the wash cycle. Many vegetable peelers have those little scoops on top for taking out the eyes from potatoes. And here's a cool tip. You can actually use vegetable peelers in both directions to peel faster, but most people just stick to one direction. When using yellow mustard, make sure to push the lid of the bottle all the way open until you hear a satisfying click. This way the lid will stay securely in place and won't get in the way when you're dispensing the mustard onto your food. It's a simple step that can make your condiment experience hassle-free and enjoyable. So there. You know that little hole at the end of your pot or pan? Well, it's not just for show. You can actually use it as a handy holder for your forks and spoons. Next time you're cooking up a storm in the kitchen, just pop your utensils in that convenient little hole and keep them close at hand. Okay, just a heads up to remember to switch the direction of your ceiling fan for the changing weather, and to give it a good clean too. I've seen that a lot of folks found it helpful before to reverse the fan's direction by flipping a switch for different seasons. So this is just a friendly reminder to go ahead and do it again, pushing hot air down and pulling cold air up. When you're chowing down for some pizza, just tear off the top of the box and use it as a big old plate. You can even rip the box in half and fold it to save some leftovers for later. Well, that's it for today. What, you want to know more cool facts? Sure, but you'll have to subscribe and hit the bell to get more videos. I'm waiting. Go ahead.
What's hiding inside Coca-Cola cans and regular household batteries? Why do magnets affect breakfast cereals? Do crosswalk buttons actually work, or are they just useless decorations? What does that USB symbol really mean? I'm not sure I know the answers to these and similar questions, but I'm eager to learn the truth together with you. Let's find it out. Coca-Cola cans have a secret few people know about. Here's a Coke can. Let's submerge it in a highly corrosive alkaline solution. The aluminum dissolves due to a process known as hydrolysis, and we can see a plastic liner inside the can. It's made from a polymer or epoxy resin and serves as some kind of a protective barrier between the aluminum walls of the can and the rather acidic soda. Despite a popular myth, household batteries don't actually contain liquid, and if you accidentally cut them open, no toxic liquid will spill. Most of them are dry cell batteries, which are made of electrochemical cells. Those convert chemical energy into electrical energy. Larger batteries often house numerous small cells within them too. Even Tesla vehicle batteries consist of multiple small cells. When combined, they easily provide the necessary voltage. Most toothbrushes have differently colored bristles, but they aren't just pleasing to the eye. Those bristles, often blue, have a functional purpose. They're called toothbrush indicators, and their colors fade as you use the brush. The American Dental Association recommends changing your toothbrush at least 4 times a year. And by getting paler, these bristles help you figure out when it's time to replace your toothbrush. You'll probably agree that there's no better snack than a pack of chips. Some are flat, others have ridges. Is it just aesthetics? Not really. The main purpose of those lines on some kinds of chips is to help with the distribution of spices and seasonings. In other words, all those substances that make your chips taste like cheese are mostly stored inside the lines. Plus, the lines make chips crunchier. Now this one might be a surprise, but some breakfast cereals are magnetic. That's because they're often fortified with iron in the form of a fine powder. Due to the added iron, cereal flakes get attracted to magnets. All this may sound kinda alarming, but in reality, the iron content in the flakes is minimal and doesn't pose any threat to your health. That clear fluid in gel pens is called the ink follower or stopper fluid. The gel in such pens contains pigment particles dissolved in a polymer solution. The main task of the stopper fluid is to be a barrier to prevent the gel from evaporating or leaking out. Without this transparent fluid, your gel pen wouldn't function. The fluid always stays in one position and doesn't get dissolved with the gel. Neither does it move backwards or flow out of the pen. Many pedestrian crosswalk buttons, namely in New York, are placebo buttons. They do literally nothing when you press them. Originally, they were functional after being introduced in 1964, but today, most of them don't affect traffic lights, which are programmed based on the real needs of the traffic flow. Why do such buttons even exist then? It's a simple psychological trick, providing you with an illusion of control. You might have noticed that movie theater seats are almost always red. This choice isn't random, it has strategic importance, which is rooted in visual science. The thing is, red light has a longer wavelength. It means that it's the first color to disappear in low light. It allows the audience to concentrate better on the screen once the movie begins. Such a design choice enhances the viewing experience by minimizing distractions. Speed bumps are crucial for pedestrian safety, but at the same time, they can seriously increase car emissions due to the non-stop acceleration and deceleration they cause. To address this issue, some cities like London are testing fake speed bumps. Those are optical illusions painted on the road. They look raised from a driver's perspective, but in reality, they're flat. Authorities hope that this approach will slow down drivers without having a negative impact on the environment. Soda bottles are always filled in such a way that there's some space between the liquid and the cap. That's because soda contains carbon dioxide. It's a gas that can expand once the bottle's heated. If there's no gap in the bottle, it can break because of the pressure building inside. Also, when you open your drink, the gases go out in the form of bubbles, making the drink overflow. The gap helps with this problem too. The USB symbol, looking like a trident, has always sparked multiple speculations about its origin. One popular idea is that it represents Neptune's trident and symbolizes power and adaptability. But there's also a little bit less exciting theory. A man who claimed to have designed the symbol in the 1980s stated that it was supposed to represent connectivity. The large circle symbolizes a computer, while the attached shapes, the circle, the triangle, and square, stand for different outputs. The design of a tennis racket has a specific feature known as the throat. It's an open space below the head of the racket. This space isn't just for storing balls, it also improves the racket's aerodynamics by letting air pass through. It seriously reduces drag during swings. Speaking of tennis courts are usually built with a north-south orientation. It helps minimize the impact of the sun's position during the game, ensuring that neither player has the sun directly in their eyes. Look closely at a tram's overhead lines, and you'll see that its contact wires zigzag back and forth instead of going in a straight line. That's because all trams have pantographs attached to their roofs. The upper part of the pantograph is gradually worn down by the overhead wire and eventually needs to be replaced. To wear it down evenly, the wire is not installed strictly along the tram's path, but in zigzag patterns. As the tram moves, the pantograph slides along the wire, and it wears down evenly. Those cone-shaped water cooler cups? Their shape is intentionally designed to prevent users from setting the cups down. This allows employees to minimize the risk of spilling water on their desks around various electronic devices. Plus, less material is used to produce cone-shaped cups, which makes the process less wasteful and more cost-effective. It also kinda supports sustainability by encouraging people to drink their water quickly and dispose of their cups immediately after. Most suitcases have 2 zipper pulls, and it serves several purposes. First of all, if one zipper fails, the other can keep the suitcase closed. Even better, having 2 zippers allows you to have easier access to small sections of your suitcase without having to open it entirely. And finally, when you have 2 zippers, you can connect them with a padlock for increased security. Some plastic milk containers have dents on their sides. These dents serve several purposes. When milk spoils, it usually causes swelling and high-pressure buildup inside the container. That's when the dent pops out and doesn't let the jug blow up. Plus, if you decide to freeze the milk, it will expand like any other fluid. And then again, the indentation will pop out and prevent the container from breaking inside your freezer. If you ever had a problem figuring out why fake pockets exist, you need to hear this. The main reason is that if a clothing item has a specific cut or shape, pockets may spoil it. They can alter the item's shape either in the warehouse or already on the retail rack. The solution? Getting rid of the pockets in key areas. Plus, fake pockets are obviously cheaper, and they don't get stretched out. The thermos wasn't actually invented to keep your coffee warm. It was made by a Scottish scientist who wanted a safe place to keep his chemicals at a stable temperature. So, he took 2 bottles, put the smaller one inside the bigger bottle, and vacuumed out the air between them.